There is one more thing that Adobe Acrobat Distiller can do for you, and I want to cover that here. It's a little bit of an advanced item, but it's something that the graphics people certainly use frequently. Under the Settings menu, you can create what are called watched folders. Watched folders allow you to feed Distiller a whole set of files and then ask it to convert those files while you're not sitting at the computer. It's kind of a batch process. And it's actually very, very handy if you need to convert a lot of, say, PostScript files or maybe some encapsulated PostScript files to PDF. You can have it happen behind the scenes while Distiller is doing the work. You can go off and have some lunch or do whatever it is that you might want to do. So let's create a watched folder. I'm going to select Settings, Watched Folders. And the first thing that I need to do is add a folder. Now, you have to create the folder first. Acrobat Distiller isn't going to allow you to create a folder like some other applications can when you're saving a file. Sometimes you can go ahead and create a folder on the fly. Distiller doesn't allow you to do that. So create the folder ahead of time and then start here. I've actually created a folder for you. It's inside that Lesson 5 folder of the Part 1 folder in the project file set. So we're going to use that as our folder. We'll select Add Folder. And again, my project files are on my desktop, so I'll navigate my way to them. And here we have a watched folder, very cleverly labeled watched folder. When I click Open, Distiller will kind of take that folder over, and I'll show you what I mean by that in just a moment, because we're actually going to use it to produce some PDF. Before I finish, though, I need to tell Distiller what settings to use. And if I want to, I can click Edit Settings and start afresh and create my own new group of settings. Or I'm going to hit Cancel because I've already created settings, and I want to just load some of the settings that I've already created. So I'll choose Load Settings. I can pick from among my settings. Perhaps this folder is going to be used to produce a set of standard PDF files for use in a laser printer, so I'll just load that group of settings. This little icon indicates that this folder now has a group of job options associated with it, and it's good to go. A couple of other things that I'll want to set. How often does Distiller check to see if there's something in there that it can process? I'll have it go every 10 seconds or so. I can set that to 0 or I can set that to some large number, but I'll show you why that doesn't matter in just a moment. And then when everything is done, I want it to move the PostScript file or whatever else I give the watched folder to convert to PDF into the out folder. And you'll see where that out folder is in just a moment. Finally, if I want to, I can actually add some security to the mix right here. And this is pretty handy. If I'm going to produce a group of PDF files en masse and I want Distiller to do it, I might want to add some security to the mix as they're being created. So I'll click Edit Security. I'm going to restrict the editing and printing of the documents through the use of a permissions password. So I'll type a password here. And I don't want it to be able to be printed, and I don't want changes to be made to the document, so we'll leave those alone. I'll click OK, and I have to reiterate the password, and this is just Acrobat making sure that I didn't mistype it in the first place, because once I secure a file, if I don't have the password, I'm not going to be able to unsecure the file and get in and do any editing of it myself. So we'll go ahead and confirm that, and it confirmed, so everything is OK. Now we'll select OK. And in this case, again, nothing's happening because all I've done is I've created a watched folder. So let's open that folder. And I'll open the Lesson 5 folder, and there we have a watched folder. Now, the watched folder had been empty until I handed it to Distiller. When I open it up, you'll see that I now have an in, an out, and a set of job options. These are the settings that I want the folder to use. To use this folder, I'm going to open another window into the Lesson Files folder, and I'll move them side by side so we can see them together. So I have 4 files that I want to process. I'm going to select all 4 of them while holding the Shift key down, and I'm simply going to drag them into the In folder and let go. Now, before anything happens, I'm going to jump back to Distiller, and if I watch, I'll see that Distiller will jump to life, and every 10 seconds it's checking in that In folder to see if there's something to process. It found one thing to process, it's processing it. It found a second thing, a third thing, and a fourth thing. So what it did was it found all of those files that I put in there, and it processed them into PDF files. Let's go back to the watched folder, and that's the In. So the In is empty because I asked it to move everything. So I'll back up a step. Now I've got the In folder. Let's look in the Out folder. And lo and behold, not only are the files that I put in the In folder in the Out folder, but the PDF files that Distiller created for me are also in the Out folder. There are basically two things that I can put in a Watched Folders In folder for processing. Those are PostScript files and EPS files. But if you have a process that allows you to create a large number of those that you then want to convert into PDF, the Watched Folder functionality can be a great way to batch this up so that you don't actually have to sit there and ask Distiller to convert each one of them in turn. But what about converting a file all by itself in turn? Well, let's return back to Distiller. And the last thing that I want to show you is that Distiller itself has a File Open menu. I can choose File, Open, and in that same Lesson 5 folder from the project files, there's a PostScript file. You can open that PostScript file, which is essentially handing it to Distiller. Distiller will take that file and convert it to a PDF file and drop the PDF file in the same place that it got the PostScript. So we'll go back to our Lesson 5 folder, and there's the PostScript, and there's the PDF file. And the last step that you almost always want to take when you generate a PDF file is to open that file in Acrobat, examine it, make sure that it did what you hoped it would do, your fonts are embedded, the images look the way that you want them to look, so that you can make sure that your process was successful. Adobe Acrobat Distiller is an incredibly robust tool. In this lesson, my goal was to show you how to access the various knobs that you can use to set yourself up to create the right kind of PDF for your needs. The rest of the process is really going to be up to you. You'll want to experiment with it, you'll want to share settings with others and get settings from others so that you can learn how to produce the exact right group of settings to create the exact right type of PDF file for your needs.